Thief. Ethan wakes early before the cucumber field's morning air, feels cold and unusually silent. Dew rests heavy on green cucumber leaves. He counts rows slowly with careful eyes. Something feels wrong. Again, this quiet morning baskets look lighter than yesterday at dawn. Ethan stops walking and checks numbers twice. The count never matches what he expects. No broken soil appears near the plants. No footprints show signs of human presence. Fences stand firm without cuts or gaps. Birds chirp calmly as nothing happened. Ethan feels a tight knot forming inside. He remembers yesterday feeling exactly similar. Each day begins with hope, then confusion. His mother Sarah waits inside their farmhouse. She brews coffee while watching the fields. Her eyes carry worry. She never speaks. Ethan enters quietly, removing muddy boots. Sarah looks up, reading his face instantly. She knows the count failed again today. Ethan nods without saying any words. Silence fills the small kitchen slowly. The clock ticks louder than normal today. Sarah tells him to sit and eat food. Tastes dull when thoughts feel heavy. Ethan stares outside through the window. Sunlight hits cucumbers like painted lines. He remembers when harvest felt joyful before numbers started shrinking without explanation. Sarah warns him not to ask questions. She says quiet people survive longer here. Ethan dislikes silence, but respects her fear. The town has rules. Nobody ever writes. People follow them without asking reasons. Trucks come weekly to collect produce quietly. Buyers decide prices without negotiation allowed. Complaints disappear. Along with future buyers, Ethan has seen neighbors lose everything. Farms fail after speaking too loudly. He clenches his hands under table. Something inside him begins slowly changing. He finishes breakfast without tasting anything outside. Wind moves, leaves like whispers. Ethan walks back toward the cucumber rows. He kneels, touching soil with fingers. The dirt feels dry and innocent. Nothing suggests theft or secret removal. Cucumbers vanish like fading memories overnight. Ethan stands feeling watched by silence. He scans the road beyond the field. A distant highway hums with life. Trucks pass without stopping or slowing. He wonders who truly owns this land. Papers say Miller family owns it. Reality feels very different lately. Buyers hold power without touching soil. Thing hates that invisible grip tightening. He thinks about staying late tonight watching, instead of hiding behind fear. Sarah's warning echoes inside his head. Quiet people survive longer. Here she said, survival without dignity feels like slow loss. Ethan breathes deeply, calming his racing thoughts. He decides to observe, not confront yet. Daytime passes with routine farm chores. He repairs crates and checks irrigation lines. Everything appears normal under sunlight. Normality feels like another kind of lie. Evening approaches with orange-colored skies. Shadows stretch long across cucumber rows. Sarah calls him inside before darkness. Dinner is quiet. Like most nights, they avoid discussing the missing produce. Silence becomes their shared protective shield. There. After dinner, Ethan steps outside again. Night air carries distant engine sounds. Crickets sing, hiding the heavier noises. Ethan sits near the field edge. He watches without moving or breathing loudly. Time passes slowly like thick syrup. Moonlight reveals leaves shimmering softly. Ethan's eyes adjust to the darkness. Headlights appear far down the road. A truck slows near the fields. Ethan's heart starts pounding very hard. He stays hidden behind stacked crates. The truck stops without turning lights. A familiar logo marks the door. Ethan recognizes the produce buyer instantly. The man steps out calmly, checking surroundings. No hurry shows in his movements. He walks straight toward cucumber rows. Ethan realizes truth forming painfully clear. This is not theft, but entitlement. The buyer picks only perfect cucumbers. He fills crates already labeled paid. Ethan watches anger mix with clarity. Every missing count finally makes sense. The buyer loads crates methodically and quietly. No fear exists in his actions. He owns silence through long habit. Ethan grips the wood beside him. He does not move or shout. Observation feels stronger than reckless courage. The truck leaves without any rush. Dust settles back onto the road. Ethan remains still. Long after silence, truth weighs heavier than missing cucumbers. He understands why neighbors stayed quiet. Control works best when unseen completely. Ethan walks back home, slowly thinking. He enters without waking. Sarah tonight's sleep avoids him despite exhaustion growing. His mind repeats the same images. Calm theft disguised as routine business. Morning will require a new decision. Speaking means risk. Silence means loss. Ethan finally sleeps as dawn approaches. Birds begin singing once more outside. He wakes with determination, replacing confusion. Days. The field awaits another count today. Ethan steps outside, ready for change. Numbers will fall again, as expected. But fear no longer controls his choices. He looks toward the distant highway. Trucks symbolize power. He now understands knowledge, removes some weight from fear. Sarah joins him quietly at doorway. She notices resolve in his posture. Ethan meets her eyes calmly. Today he does not explain what he saw. She senses truth without needing words. A long pause passes between them. Sarah nods slowly, accepting coming hardship. She trusts her son's quiet strength. Ethan picks a basket deliberately. No. He separates best cucumbers carefully aside. A different plan forms inside him. One, not built on confrontation. Yet independence requires risk, but also preparation. He loads baskets into their old truck. Sarah watches, silently understanding the message. They will not wait for buyers. The road to the city awaits. Ethan checks fuel and engine twice. This truck represents choice and defiance. Cucumbers sit fresh under morning sun. Ordinary vegetables carrying heavy meaning. Ethan starts engine, feeling nervous yet calm. Fields disappear slowly behind the mirrors. He drives toward unknown consequences ahead. Fear still exists, but weaker now. Knowledge has changed its sharpness. Control breaks when silence breaks. First, Ethan keeps driving without looking back. The town remains quiet behind him. Fields hold secrets only farmers know. This journey marks the turning point. Not victory yet, but movement begun. Ethan breathes easier as miles pass. City signs appear welcoming and market noise replaces rural quiet sounds. He parks near crowded produce stalls. People examine vegetables with honest interest. No single buyer controls prices here. Ethan feels freedom in simple exchanges. Cucumbers sell quickly under open competition. Money changes hands without hidden threats. Ethan realizes truth spreads through action. Silence only serves those stealing quietly. He finishes selling before noon arrives. The truck feels lighter heading home. Consequences will follow this brave choice. Ethan accepts them without regret. Now Fields will face a different future. Control has been challenged, not destroyed. Courage begins with seeing truth clearly. The road home feels longer today. Change has started quietly within Ethan. Returns home before the afternoon heat. Sarah waits near the door silently. She studies his face for answers. Ethan hands her the folded cash. Her hands tremble while counting slowly. She understands what this money means. No buyer came to the farm, no permission was asked or granted. Silence breaks with outspoken explanations. Sarah exhales fear mixed with relief. She knows consequences will surely follow. That night feels heavier than before. No trucks arrive after sunset. Today the road stays empty and dark. Ethan sleeps lightly, hearing every sound. Morning arrives without the usual truck. The field remains untouched and quiet. Ethan counts cucumbers once again. Numbers finally matches expectations today. Relief mixes with growing tension inside. Sarah prepares breakfast with cautious optimism. Shu warns Ethan to stay alert. Towns do not forgive defiance, Azali. Ethan nods, understanding the unspoken risk. He spends day repairing irrigation pipes. Work keeps his mind focused briefly. Neighbors pass without meeting his eyes. News travels faster than spoken words. The buyer notices absence of produce control, does not like disruption. Ever afternoon brings dust clouds from highway. A familiar truck approaches the farm. Ethan stands his ground near. Fills the buyer steps out, smiling coldly. He greets Ethan like old friends. His voice carries practiced calm authority. He asks why deliveries stop suddenly. Ethan answers honestly without raising voice. We sold directly to the market. Silence stretches between them, dangerously long. The buyer's smile fades very slowly. He warns about future difficulties coming. He mentions permits and inspection issues. Words feel polite but clearly threatening. Ethan listens without interrupting or reacting. He repeats, they chose another option. The buyer shakes head disappointedly. He says independence has a cost. Then he leaves. Without further discussion, Sarah watches everything from the porch. She grips the railing tightly, afraid. Ethan walks back toward her. Calmly, neither speaks about what just happened. Fear returns but does not dominate. Days pass without buyer's return. Inspectors arrive unexpectedly one morning. They examine soil, water, and storage. Everything checks out, clean and legal. Ethan prepared carefully for this moment. Sarah smiles faintly after inspectors leave. Control failed because truth supported them. Word spreads quietly through nearby farms. Some farmers begin asking questions. Again, Ethan avoids becoming any kind leader. The focuses only on his work. City trips become part of routine. In market, vendors recognize Ethan's quality. Produce prices fluctuate, but remain fair always. Money arrives. Slower but honest. Now the farm feels alive once more. Cucumbers grow, strong and careful tending. Sarah laughs again during evening meals. Their home fills with cautious hope. One evening, a neighbor finally stops. He asks how Ethan managed risk. Ethan explains, without boasting or pride. Knowledge shared quietly feels powerful. Change spreads through simple conversations. The buyer's truck passes occasionally. Now it never stops at the farm. Power shifts when options become visible. Ethan understands. Courage inspired. Odors too. Some farms still choose silence, though fear does not vanish overnight. But choice now exists clearly. Ethan feels responsibility growing heavier. Not as leader, but simple. Iki's actions steady and consistent. Another season approaches with new challenges. Weather threatens crops with sudden storms. Market prices dip unexpectedly. 1 week stress returns but feels manageable now. Sarah reminds Ethan why they started. Freedom over comfort always costs more. A letter arrives from town office. It announces new cooperative formation meeting. Farmers invited to discuss fair trading. Ethan reads letter twice, carefully. This opportunity did not exist before. Silence once blocked all such paths. Ethan attends the meeting, quietly listening. Stories echo his own experience. Closely loss, fear, pressure, hidden manipulation described. Faces show relief, sharing truth openly. Cooperative forms without loud celebration. Simple agreements replace silent exploitation. Buyers must now compete. Openly, markets expand beyond single highway route. Ethan drives home feeling cautious pride. Saray listens as he explains meeting. She holds his hand warmly. Hard days shaped this outcome. Control weakened through collective clarity. Yet dangers still linger quietly. Some powerful people dislike losing grip. Ethan remains alert, but hopeful the field flourishes under steady care. Cucumbers fill baskets evenly. Again, each harvest reflects honest labor. Ethan counts without fear. Number vigilance replaces blind trust permanently. One evening, the buyer appears again. This time, he does not threaten. He asks about cooperative terms. Calmly, Ethan listens but does not rush. Negotiations now happen openly. Recorded power no longer hides behind silence. Sarah watches from porch peacefully. She knows struggle changed their lives. Not wealth, but dignity returned. Ethan signs. Nothing without review. Learned. Patience from hardship. The buyer leaves with neutral expression. Not defeated, but no longer dominant. Sunset paints fields with golden calm. Ethan breathes deeply, feeling grounded. The road hums without fear. Now trucks symbolize choice, not control anymore. Night falls quietly over the farm. Crickets sing as usual. Again, normal sounds feel reassuring now. Ethan sits outside, reflecting silently. Change did not require violence, ever. Only truth and persistence combined. He understands leadership through action alone. Sarah brings tea and sits beside their watch. Stars appear gradually. Tomorrow will bring new tests. But silence will not rule again. Ethan promises himself to remember. Fear once shaped every decision. Knowledge reshaped fear into caution. Fields hold lessons beyond crops. Cucumbers taught value of choice. Ordinary work revealed hidden systems. Ethan smiles at the simple irony. Life changed through small, deliberate acts. No hero speeches or fights, just refusal to stay silent. The farm rests under moonlight. Wind moves leaves softly tonight. Peace feels earned, not gifted. Thing prepares for early morning. Again, routine returns with new meaning. Counting becomes confirmation, not anxiety. Harvest reflects honesty every day. The cooperative meeting approaches again. More voices plan to attend. Change grows like tended crops. Slow, patient, and resilient. Ethan feels responsibility, but not burdened. He will keep choosing openness. Control weakens when exposed repeatedly. Silence breaks through shared courage. The night holds fewer fears now. Stars shine clearly above fields. Tomorrow begins another honest count. Ethan rests, trusting his choices. The farm breathes quietly with him. A new balance settles into place. Morning arrives quietly over the cucumber fields. Ethan wakes before sunrise. Without alarm, habit remains stronger than recent changes. He steps outside, breathing cool, steady air. Dew covers leaves like tiny mirrors. He walks rows, slowly counting without fear. Numbers remain steady. Honest and complete relief settles deeper than previous mornings. Sarah joins him, carrying warm coffee. They share silence, comfortable, and then the field no longer feels hostile. It feels like work, again simply. Trucks pass the road without stopping. Choice exists even when unused. Now, Ethan finishes counting and notes totals. Records matter more than memory today. He learned documentation protects quiet workers. Sarah reviews notes, nodding approvingly. They prepare crates for cooperative delivery. Labels show weights, origins, and prices. Transparency replaces whispered agreements. Finally, Ethan loads truck, carefully balancing crates. He checks straps twice, ensuring safety. The drive feels routine, yet meaningful. Market vendors greet him with respect. They know consistent quality brings trust. Ethan sells without rush or pressure. Prices hold fair despite market noise. He returns home before afternoon heat. Sarah waits, smiling without worry. Today news arrives through phone messages quietly. More farmers joined cooperative overnight. Momentum grows without loud announcements. Change spreads best through lived examples. Ethan remains cautious, not celebrating early. Power shifts often provoke hidden reactions. He inspects equipment, preparing contingencies. Backup plans matter after recent lessons. Afternoon passes. With steady fieldwork, cucumbers receive water, sunlight, and care. Growth reflects attention, not exploitation. Neighbors wave. Now in passing, some stop. To talk briefly. Shared experiences reduce lingering fear. Ethan listens more than he speaks. Advice offered without claiming authority. Evening approaches. With familiar sounds, crickets begin their nightly chorus. Sarah prepares dinner with lighter mood. Laughter returns softly between sentences. They discuss weather forecasts together. Planning feels cooperative, not defensive. Night falls gently over the land. Stars appear clear without cloud cover. Ethan sits outside reviewing the day. He considers what truly changed here. Not wealth status or sudden success. Only agency returned to ordinary people. Silos. Once protected, unfair control. Speech paired with action broke it. Ethan understands this lesson deeply now. He commits to protecting that balance. Future challenges will still appear. Markets fluctuate, seasons test patience, but silence will not return. The cooperative schedules next meeting. Soon Ethan plans to attend quietly again. Participation matters more than leadership titles. Sarah supports his steady approach. Fully she learned fear shrinks. When shared, the house feels warmer tonight, not from weather, but certainty. Ethan prepares for early morning. Again, routine anchors change sustainably. He checks truck fuel and tools. Preparedness replaces anxious anticipation. The road outside hums calmly. Trucks symbolize opportunity, not threat now. Ethan sleeps deeply without sudden waking. Dreams remain simple. An untroubled morning returns with pale sunlight. Another count begins like before. Consistency proves the strongest reassurance. Ethan records numbers neatly and accurately. Sarah reviews logs, approving quietly. They plan deliveries without hesitation. Confidence grows through repetition and proof. No buyer arrives unannounced. Today absence confirms boundaries, now respected. Ethan feels neither pride nor bitterness. Only clarity about his choices. Fields respond well to honest care. Cucumbers grow evenly across rows. Work continues without dramatic moments. That normalcy marks real success. Ethan understands stories rarely end loudly. Most victories sound like quiet mornings. He shares this thought with Sarah. She smiles, understanding exactly what he means. Life settles into earned stability. The farm becomes reference, not anomaly. Neighbors adopt similar market strategies. Cooperative grows without losing simplicity. Rules stay clear and written openly. Control loses ground when light appears. Ethan never forgets that first night watching truth reveal itself silently. Observation changed everything without confrontation. He teaches this lesson gently, not through speeches but example. Evening arrives with familiar peace. Stars appear again, above fields. Ethan feels gratitude without excess emotion. Gratitude grounded in lived experience. Sarah pours tea and sits nearby. They watch darkness settle comfortably. The farm breathes quietly around them. No hidden tension lingers anymore. Trust returns slowly but firmly. Ethan reflects on fear's transformation. Knowledge reshaped fear into caution. Caution guided better choices. Forward silence once served unjust power. Voice paired with action reclaimed dignity. The lesson remains simple and lasting. Ordinary work reveals extraordinary truths. Ethan prepares for another early morning responsibility, accepted without resentment. Now fields require consistency, not heroics. He understands sustainable courage. Clearly night deepens with steady calm. Crickets sing uninterrupted by engines. Ethan rests knowing choices matter tomorrow. promises routine, honest labor. He welcomes that predictability. Fully change does not require spectacle. Only persistence and shared clarity. The farm stands quiet and whole. Cucumbers rest under protective darkness. Ethan sleeps without unresolved tension. Morning will arrive as expected. Counts will confirm honest harvest. Work will continue without hidden pressure. Silence will never dominate again. The lesson stays rooted like crops. Truth grows when tended carefully. Ethan lives that truth daily, not loudly but consistently. The road hums with distant life. Fields remain central and grounded. Balance holds through ongoing attention. Power equalizes through visible choice. Ethan closes his eyes peacefully. There, another day completed with integrity. The story ends without grand gestures. Just the field reclaimed quietly. Ordinary courage proves enough. Sometimes life continues steady and honest. The farm reflects that simplicity. Ethan remains vigilant but hopeful. Silence replaced by mindful awareness. Work speaks louder than protest. Consistency protects future generations. The lesson settles permanently inside. Fields carry memory of change. Cucumbers grow indifferent, yet symbolic. Life moves forward without fear. Choices remain visible and open. Control fades where light persists. Ethan breathes evenly. Facing tomorrow, routine anchors the hard-earned peace. The night holds no threats now. Stars watch quietly over fields. Morning will begin another count. That count will be on as the story closes without noise. Courage becomes habit, not event. Silence finally loses its power. Ethan sleeps, knowing truth endures. Subscribe to Hidden Tale Stories.